For most Americans who can remember 1968, the first time they heard the name Dolores Huerta was moments before one of the great tragedies of that year and of our time.
I want to thank all of those Mexican Americans who were such supporters of mine. And Dolores Huerta, who is an old friend of mine and has worked with the union, to thank her and tell her how much I appreciate her coming tonight.
That evening, when we were celebrating Bobby's victory in the California election, there were a lot of farm workers that had come from Delano and Fresno and other places to work on his campaign. We worked East Los Angeles, we worked the South Central areas of LA, and so we had those farm workers that were gathered in a ballroom with mariachis waiting for Bobby. That was going to be his first stop after his speech. But instead, they took him to the kitchen.
My thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there.
Of course, Bobby Kennedy never made it to Chicago, assassinated in the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel. But the young woman standing with him on stage that night would go on to continue her work as a leader of the workers' movement and her life as one of America's great women.
California, we say you cannot close your eyes and your ears to us any longer. You cannot pretend that we do not exist. You cannot plead ignorance to our problems because we are here and we embody our needs for you. And we are not alone.
Desde Texas a California, campesinos están luchando. Desde Texas a California, campesinos están luchando.
Born in 1930, Dolores Huerta was raised by her mother in Stockdale, California, and encouraged to be outgoing and involved. Already an activist by her early 20s, Dolores co-founded the Sacramento chapter of the Community Service Organization and banded together with Cesar Chavez to form the National Farm Workers Association in 1962.
I had organized a large group of farm workers in Stockton, California. Cesar had been organizing farm workers in Oxnard. So we had that issue in common. And so when we decided to start the union, then he asked me to partner up with him to start it.
She became a national figure in 1965 when the UFW staged a strike against the grape growers in California that grew into a national grape boycott.
Estamos dedicando este día el fruto de la unidad del campesino. Pero lo que estamos fincando aquí es una organización, una unidad para hacer los cambios sociales y económicos que necesitamos para ser hombres y mujeres libres. Y vamos a ver la victoria pronto, compañeros. Bueno, muchas gracias, compañeros, y que viva la causa. ¡Que viva la huelga!
As an organizer, you always have to keep in mind that when you're encouraging people and trying to get people to get involved, that you're doing them a favor. Because when people get involved, they really transform. They get stronger. The work that they do, they transform other people, and then we make our communities stronger and our world stronger.
The Delano grape strike put farm workers' rights into the national dialogue. And Dolores has remained a vigilant advocate for the cause for the past 4 decades. Her tireless work helped lead to the passage of the Agricultural Labor Relations Act and increased farm workers' rights, including collective bargaining and immigration rights. She is the president of the Dolores Huerta Foundation and was inducted as a member of the National Women's Hall of Fame in 1993.
I think I was the first Latina woman in the National Women's Hall of Fame, and I think the women's movement can go a long way to getting rid of racism in our society. I know that when the women's movement was started, it was by a lot of working women and women, that fought very hard to get the women's movement going. But we need to understand that we are the majority when we talk about women, and we talk about people of color, and we talk about white men of conscience, that we are the majority. So women, I think we can be the bridges, and we can do a lot to end the racial discrimination, the racial disparities in our society. We as women can take that lead.